what about how do you sustain all of this? You've got fees in this system. You guys are also offering yields. How do kind of all of this work, and how do people know that you have enough money to pay those yields, and how do people know that you guys, aren't going to go bankrupt? Kind of explain your financial solvency to here for just a minute, if you don't mind.
Welcome to Gold Silver Pros.
Hey everybody, this is Robert Kientz with goldsilverpros.com. We're recording this on December 13th, 2022. You guys will see it in a couple of days on the channel. It should be on the Thursday night premiere. I'm joined by Thomas Coughlin, who's the CEO of Kinesis Money. We've been big fans of Kinesis and love our account with them, and we wanted to get him on. We get a lot of questions over Twitter, YouTube, and social media about how all of this works. And I think, Thomas, there's a lot of interest in it from different generations of people, from crypto people, from gold people, because of the feature sets that you have. We're going to get into all that here in a moment. We're going to explain all that on the program for people who are not familiar with Kinesis or have those questions. But before we do, I really wanted to get into why Kinesis. So why for you was this important, and how did you kind of land on starting this company?
Great question, and thank you very much for having me on, Robert. Appreciate it. So yeah, rewinding back to how we actually arrived at I guess the origins of this journey of Kinesis takes me back to actually similar times. I understand that you got into the space as well back in 2008, 2009, 2010. At the time, there was the credit crisis, the global financial crisis, credit markets were blowing up. I was in the financial space at that point in time, had a little hedge fund I was managing, also doing my own trading, also involved in wealth management, portfolio management business. And I was looking to diversify portfolios that I was responsible for, and also client portfolios. And I was wishing to diversify into precious metals. Saw a lot of counterparty risk in the market, with credit markets blowing up, was looking at different options available, including ETFs, and just saw layer upon layer of counterparty risk there, with the custodians being the very parties that I was, I guess, skeptical about or thought that could be subject to counterparty risk. So just really thought about getting exposure to precious metals. At the time, I picked up the phone to the Perth Mint. I sat on hold for 2 hours and then spoke to a customer service representative that soon figured out that, my buy-sell spreads would be like 10% or something like that. And I had to look after transport, logistics, storage, and all these different things. And it just became like an unfeasible, I guess, arrangement with all the mechanics involved and the risk involved with it all. So, but I really wanted to get that exposure to metals at the time. And so I went about really building out our own organization. Prior to that, I got sucked into the vortex, I guess, of researching, gold as money and sound money, and same with silver, and got involved in the whole sort of monetary history story, all the struggles for power in that space, with the central bankers and implementing fractional reserve banking, and the coming and going of the gold standard, and also like how the United States Constitution, and how gold and silver are the considered money as far as the Constitution's concerned, and into the Mises Institute, Austrian School of Economics. Got really sucked into the vortex there, wrote a big report on it, furnished that to my clients at the time, and also really like firmed up my own thinking of it, which gave me the confidence, I guess, to really step forward. And I was just blinkers on. I really left everything else behind, including some other sort of successful financial businesses at the time. I just handed them over actually to my father at the time, and just went for it as far as setting up the allocated bullion exchange, which was a spot physical institutional precious metals exchange. So we went about building out basically an institutional exchange that could face organizations, institutions that wanted to offer to their clients or wanted to trade on their own behalf physical precious metals. So that was the allocated bullion exchange. We also set up our own trading house called Bullion Capital as well. that became a market maker and liquidity provider. Initially, it was an Australian vision, but here in Australia, the parties that I guess were currently operating back then, the bullion dealers quite territorial, and it was pretty difficult to get things off the ground. So it quickly became a global story, I would say. And I jumped on a plane, went into Singapore for 3 days of meetings, which turned into 3 weeks of meetings, and the light bulb went off and go, wow, there's a lot of appetite for this globally. So then it translated into basically traveling around the world and meeting with all different kinds of very interesting people and entities across the space, all the way up to the central banks, actually. Lots of very interesting and humorous stories of, walking into the likes of the Bank of England or the New York Federal Reserve and just, telling them what we're doing in setting up a global precious metals exchange, and whether they, wanted to be part of it all and everything like that. But they weren't very happy with a private organization coming in and setting, I guess, rules which they're used to setting. So anyway, with I guess sound money being the real core backing behind everything that we were doing, and gold and silver as money, we viewed with interest, I guess, the evolution of blockchain as technology. Didn't have any interest really in the crypto space. Really, that was just fiat money 2.0 in our view. Nothing backing it, but was interested in the application of the technology of blockchain, decentralized. So, taking it out of, I guess, centralized power, and out of central planners' hands as far as the power is concerned, and dispersing it across many hands, being, the people. So it has the capabilities of serving the people and their interests. And facilitating an anonymous ledger of title of ownership, and which is immutable, and then also facilitating peer-to-peer transfer of title. That was very interesting for us, and its sort of payment and monetary application there. So we went about, in I guess late 2017, we started building out the model into 2018, where we started to present the model. I remember presenting it in St. Moritz in Switzerland. We got an invitation in there, and it was, received with standing applause. It was sort of really blew me away. But that was really the idea, to marry up the oldest, greatest store of value, really what I consider to be universal currency, made by the universe. And you can't destroy it. It's got all the monetary qualities, the best monetary qualities out there. Just marrying that up against, I guess, what you consider, new age technology that slots into a modern banking and payment system as well, but still maintaining our institutional heritage, and also all of the physical qualities of gold with immediate delivery. Anyone in our system can take immediate delivery of the metal, with the audit and security protocols all around it, and the quality assurance protocols all around it. So that's sort of what really inspired us to start it all, I would say. That's the journey to the origins of Kinesis.
And when you started the exchange, did you have Kinesis in mind? Did you start the exchange with Kinesis in mind, or did you just build that first?
No, I guess when I started the exchange, I had in my mind that gold and silver should be money. And not only in my mind, I wrote a report on it. My view was that basically the United States is in a situation that it'll never ever dig its way out of, and the rest of the world, because it just can't pay back its debt, and was just on at that point in time, back in sort of 2009, 2010, it was already like exponential as far as money printing was concerned, and it already looked like there was no way to, well, not looked like, there was no way to pay back all that debt. It took up too much of your budget to actually even pay the interest. But fast forward another 10 years, the problem has just escalated completely out of control and further exponentially. But yeah, to answer your question, we thought that gold and silver should obviously be money and would love to get into a project, but there wasn't really the technology to do it right back then. Another issue that we saw, which we really wanted to combat, was actually Gresham's law. Bad money drives out good. So, you know, if I value, or if someone values gold or silver as money, and they've made a decision to exchange fiat currency or something else of value for gold or silver, then why would they use it as a form of payment, seeing that they already value it over another form of currency? So that was something that we wanted to go about combating, and that's also something that, you know, we believe that we have combated and reversed the effects of Gresham's law, utilizing blockchain technology with Kinesis. So that's the other thing that blockchain facilitated. So we were able to introduce like an incentivizing non-debt-based yield system, which rewards utilization of the currency at the end of the day. So the more I spend, the more I utilize it, then the more I get rewarded, like I receive a yield on it, a non-debt-based yield. So which is just the transaction fees being dispersed out. So that's what the blockchain allows us to do, aggregate the transaction fees during the month, where everyone can see it, like every single transaction, the fees go off to the master fee pool. At the end of each month, we can disperse it to the different market participants. So yeah, I'd answer your question that way. Thank you.
Fantastic. So now you have this wonderful product, and you know, I'm a user and a big believer in it, because for a bunch of reasons. Number one, off the top of my mind, when you hold gold and silver in your home, there's that risk of something coming to grab it, right? And specifically me, with being a gold silver channel, I really have to worry about that, because people are going to think, oh, he's got a mountain of gold like Scrooge McDuck, you know, in his basement, which is not the case. But for me, you know, it offers security to have that stored somewhere. So if you would talk a little bit about the vaulting, and even maybe a little bit about the audits and the security of, you know, the metals where you guys have them. It's one of the big questions we get is it secure? If I don't hold it, I don't own it. I have a lot of people that say that. I don't necessarily believe that. I think you've got good controls in place. But just speak a little bit about the advantages of having some of this stored, not only in the security and safety, but how you can transact with it as well.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. And yeah, I mean, just they're fair questions at the end of the day, because particularly at the moment with what we're seeing in the world and the current environment, there's a massive ebbing of trust in, I think, all different levels of institutions, even starting at the governmental level, going through what we've gone through, big ebbing of trust even in governments and institutions now with FTX and everything like that. Because of this, I mean, currently what we built the system out to be is biannual audits, which you know, where that's in place at the moment. We've decided to up the ante, at least in a trial period for next year, to do it actually once every quarter. So we'll be doing full quarterly updates, just you know, announcing that here. And so this is where, like, basically the world's premier commodity audit and inspection agent goes through and verifies the bars, counts the bars, weighs the bars, tests the bars, you know, notes down all the serial numbers and all that sort of thing, right? So verifies it all and publishes a report. It's such a detailed report. It takes them it takes them typically over a month to get us the report. You know, we're going to be putting fire underneath them, tell them that they need to get it to us earlier, because we need to publish it to our community. But it's a, you know, proper big report. So that's on the audit side. On the vaulting side, we utilize, like, through the allocated bullion exchange, which was founded in early 2010 and faces some of the largest entities in the precious metals space. And we've got partnerships with, like, other exchanges, even other governments as well. So our Indonesian government partnership is very public. the exchanges and the post office in and other large entities within Indonesia, including their state pension fund, and we've got partnerships with these entities. We face trading houses and even into the banking space with ABX. And also with other exchanges like 𝙎𝙀𝙍𝙀𝘾𝙀𝙎, and we have partnerships and alliances there. So we've been around. We've got that institutional pedigree. The ABX utilizes a vaulting network, so which we do utilize third-party vaults, Brinks, which I think is a 150-year-old organization, 𝙎𝙀𝙍𝙀𝘾𝙀𝙎, 𝙬𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀, they're the 3 third-party vaults that we utilize. It's now across like 12 or 13 different locations around the world. And the reason for that is we're tapping into different like trading hubs, different liquidity centers, and our market makers make markets in those areas. So it becomes, there's a lot of logistical efficiencies associated with it. It just makes audit a nightmare because we have to audit all those locations at exactly the same time. But that's all right. That's part of the game. So yeah, I mean, and also we have our own vaults as well. So we've got a big vault in Turkey now where we've built and still building a mint and refinery. Our vaults built there and storing metals. We lease a vaulting building in Liechtenstein, which really is, I would say, from an asset protection perspective, when you really delve into it, because we did a lot of research, and it's our strong belief that it's the safest jurisdiction in the world. Just from an asset protection standpoint, like the government can't confiscate citizens' assets or assets within country, and we even delved into the constitutional sort of process in changing their constitution to enable it, and it's a very, very long process. So there's a lot of like protections afforded to citizens within Liechtenstein. So that's a really big vault for us. We've got a lot of silver stored there, a lot of gold as well. So there's Liechtenstein, where we also have vaulting space, and really the vaulting costs as well, they're immaterial in comparison to I guess the fee revenue that we're deriving. So this is the reason why we're able to absorb for our clients all the vaulting costs attached to us, and that we cover. And it's not like a huge expense or anything like that. And we're able to cover that through our group's revenue, which our group at its core is actually a physical precious metals business. We're vertically integrated across the supply chain. We have investments in mines. We take offtake from mines. As mentioned, we're in the refining, minting, vaulting space. So we've got a trading house, we've got an exchange, and there's Kinesis as well. So we're doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of different revenue lines, and there's a lot of efficiencies that we can pass on to our users at the end of the day. So almost be remiss of us to not, as part of building out a system that serves the people. It's a collective sharing of wealth with our yield system, where we're giving back to the people, not just banking the revenue as it comes in, but rather, we've got our blockchain system, which aggregates it and then disperses it out at the end of each month.
Thanks for walking us through that. So you do have a lot of moving pieces. You have a lot of partnerships. So from the vaulting perspective, lots of markets to be in, which is great. Lots of relationships. The financial side, thank you for explaining your revenues. I know you guys do have multiple lines of revenues, and you're able to fund this. And I just kind of wanted to put up on screen your question we got on Twitter. It was actually just a couple hours before the interview. And you and I talked about it, but I want you to kind of re-explain. So I'm going to share this tweet. And this is the type of question on the financial side that a lot of people ask is, what about how do you sustain all of this? You've got fees in this system. You guys are also offering yields. How do kind of all this work, and how do people know that you have enough money to pay those yields? And how do people know that you guys, aren't going to go bankrupt? Kind of explain your financial solvency here for just a minute, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem at all. So with regards to our fee revenue, that's fairly public. Like we publish the data actually on a 5-minute incremental basis. So if you just simply log into a Kinesis Money account, KMS account, and
Let's do that real quick because I have my account open.
Okay.
And you haven't seen it, but let's go into my account real quick, and then you just kind of walk me through how a user would do this. So here's my account. Here's my balance. I'll go through some transactions here in a moment to show people how it works, but walk me through how we figure this out.
So yeah, you're on the dashboard tab at the moment. We've got it front and center. You've got the master fee pool over on the right. At the moment, it's showing the fees for this month. If you were to click on all time, so yeah, so that's on referrers yield. If you just take it off the referrers yield and maybe click in the center or something like that, or I don't know, hover over.
Oh, here we go. We can hover over. So we have, let's hover over here. We got Kinesis and partners.
Yeah. And you can even so that's on, there you go, total value $23.39 million in fee revenue. You can even bring that down to row line items up in the top right of that box, and yeah, that's it. So that'll turn it into basically a little table there. So there you can see the full sort of quantifiable data there.
Yeah, you've got all your accounting here, which is really cool. People can see it. That's awesome. And people were saying, where do I get this data? Maybe they were looking on the website, but not on the account. But it's cool that you guys have this here. People can monitor this basically in real time, you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's just, one line of revenue for our group. And that's the fees that get shared among our different market participants. So there it is in black and white. And that's what we've paid out in gold and silver to date. We haven't yet paid out the KVT, but that's coming shortly. But everything else has been paid out. So there's been some really great yields that we've paid out. There was a 12-month period there for the holders yield that if we almost like the yield was almost 7%. So it blew away other investments as far as yield is concerned. I mean, that was during a pretty hot time for us. We had a couple of setbacks since then, but now we're really building momentum and ramping up again. So looking to hopefully, notch back to hopefully towards those kind of numbers again with the volume that we're putting through and with the additional services and solutions that we're adding onto the monetary system there to, at the end of the day, allow people to opt out of existing systems and opt into a new system such as ourselves, which is just an alternate choice that users are afforded the ability to choose.
So ultimately, the revenues that you're getting are paying for some of those yields. How do you get 7% holders yield? Is that, first of all, is that on KVTs or KAGs? And can you explain that? Yeah.
That was on KAU. I think there was like basically in October 2020 to October 2021, we had a real heavy volume period during that time. So with volume comes transaction fees. So we have a minting program, like we pay out a minter's yield, for example, which is people who bring the currency to life and then send, spend, or sell it. So they bring the currency to life by converting fiat, so US dollars or cryptocurrency for that matter, basically buying gold or silver in our virtual mint, which then basically it creates the currency and adds it to our money supply. So that's freshly minted currency. They've effectively become their own central bank. So we incentivize them not to just do that, but to actually send, spend, or sell. So this is actually where our name comes from, Kinesis, which is it's an ancient Greek word. Still, it's a Greek word right now, and it's basically the movement from undirectional stimulus. So through our yield system, we're able to incentivize the actual use of our currency. So when someone makes a decision, okay, what currency am I going to use to spend to buy something at this point in time, we want to provide enough incentive for them to actually choose like Kinesis Gold and Silver. And this is the what we consider to be the main constraint or hurdle for gold and silver to be brought back as money, is what I mentioned, Gresham's law. So we can't just have like gold and silver being hoarded, because that doesn't serve it being, you know, actual functional money and being, you know, circulating through the economy. We want it circulating through the economy. So that's why we implemented the yield system. It comes with a lot of ancillary benefits in doing that, being that we're creating a system of shared wealth where everyone can actually benefit and you know, receive reward from the system. But yeah, that's yeah, the reason why we implemented it all. And yeah, that's how we can obviously, you know, pay for the storage fees, and everyone gets rewarded along the way.
All right, so you do have enough from your various revenue lines. I mean, you have the exchange, you have Kinesis. Kinesis, as you said, the word I guess comes from the same Latin basis, kinetic. It means to move, and it's a certain type of energy, right? So it makes sense. You generate that. I want to go back to the share screen here for a moment and just kind of take a look overall at transactions. So I want to show people kind of a little bit about how this works. So this is my transaction log personally for my account. You can see my name up here. Hopefully that's displayed. But it goes back to the beginning. Of course, Jim from Citizens for Sound Money sent me a KVT. Very nice of him to do that. We're good friends. And I immediately started receiving yields. You can see the yield payouts here in terms of 𝘋𝐸𝑔 and 𝘋𝐸𝑢. And then we ended up funding the account with about $10,000, and I sent money right away to somebody on my team. I paid them, who does some social media work for them. I paid them in 𝘋𝐸𝑔s. Perfect. Took a couple minutes, and they had the payment, you know, in their account. And of course, I'm getting, you know, more. I get rewards for referring other people, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can see how the fees add up, and they are in the account. And if I wanted to, you know, take the money out, I certainly can. So I personally see no risk in terms of you guys being able to meet your requirements there. You know, so again, on my account, everything great. Now I want to move over to another feature. Now that we've answered that question, can you explain the cryptocurrencies? I can see down here you got pricing for those cryptocurrencies. Can people hold these on the exchange? What can they do, you know, in the crypto space?
Yeah. So and look, one of the biggest motivations in bringing cryptocurrencies in is we're offering an alternate monetary system and really payment, and ultimately a system that will be able to serve the everyday banking requirements for both individuals and businesses. So I think choice is good. Providing the ability to bring in cryptocurrencies, like digital assets or cryptocurrencies, and providing the ability to actually even convert it into gold and silver. We're Sound Money advocates. Sound Money for us is gold and silver. Cryptos, in my view, there's some interesting ones that provide some utility value, and the technology behind it can provide efficiencies. Like, for example, we consider the technology that we use, which is Stellar blockchain tech, to be, you know, a very efficient form of technology that's implemented in I guess the digital ledger, like title of ownership and payment space, peer-to-peer payment, very efficient. You know, can take a lot of transactions, but you know, we also don't see the problem with we have 8 fiat currencies that we list as well, and people can deposit their fiat currencies in. You can hold fiat currency within our system. It's fine to also hold cryptocurrency. Like, people are, you know, welcome to trade it. We have our own exchange, you know, and they're welcome to obviously trade it as well. But it provides I guess a pipeline in to our system that it has the least amount of friction for people to also, once they you know, have their aha moment as far as gold and silver being like true value and the true store of value that's lasted the test of time, then it provides the ability to seamlessly convert between gold and silver. So we just, you know, we've got a system there. It's an alternate type of system. And yeah, we've got choice for people to trade all these different products.
Thanks so much for answering the questions, Thomas. I got one more for you. We did chat about this before starting the recording. You guys have a relationship with Indonesia. I know you touched on that earlier. Can you really explain what that is? And are you going to expand that type of program beyond that and maybe into other countries?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, the Indonesian project, we've been working with those guys for quite some time, initially through ABX with the governmental work that we've done with ABX. And then that expanded into basically Kinesis. And when we first came about it, they were actually building their own blockchain system. So to implement payments through the post office. So their post office being it's actually, I think, the third largest post office in the world as far as branches and utilization. So it's a large entity. And it really has like the largest footprint of any organization entity within the country. I've forgotten how many branches. I think it's like over 28,000 branches, and it's spread across all the thousands of islands which actually make up Indonesia. And so they have the largest footprint. They had the greatest ability to actually roll out a nationwide payment and monetary system. It's already a cornerstone in the financial services and payment space. People go there to pay their utility bills, etc. I mean, they do that in most countries around the world. Post offices offer that ability. So just a real central hub for being able to roll something like this out. So they were building their own blockchain payment tech. And we said, oh, well, we've already built it with Kinesis. You might as well utilize us. And so they actually pivoted from quite a large team that they had on. When I visited them, they had 50 odd developers there plugging away, building their own tech, and they pivoted to Kinesis, which is fantastic news. So that's something that we're now in the middle of rolling out. I'm hoping to have some really great news as far as that post office launch, POS Gold, before the end of the year. So we've launched JFX, which is the gold exchange that's one of the gold exchanges, one of the exchanges which is utilizing our gold exchange technology in country, because we've got another exchange that's going to be doing the same. And the other entities really plug into these exchanges as well for basically the liquidity and the price discovery. So they need to plug into exchanges. So the exchange launches, they have to come first, and then everything else comes around that. The next off the ranks is the post office implementing basically full payment system, incorporating like basically 𝙎𝙀𝙀𝘾𝙄𝙊, the Kinesis gold currency. So really excited about that launch. That's a we've got a lot of other entities, like even the state pension fund that's going to be mandated to be paying a certain percentage out in their pensions and holding a certain certain portfolio size in gold, in 𝙎𝙀𝙀𝘾𝙄𝙊, in country. We're building a vault in Indonesia out at the airport. It's going to be in the free trade zone. We've been gifted actual land by the government to do that. And that's not far away as well. So as far as your question goes regarding next nation, because we're making a bit of a name for ourselves as being specialists in the public-private partnership space. And there is a pipeline of governments, which is real. I've got to say, a really encouraging trend that there's these, I guess, patriotic politicians in the highest levels of government that are looking to serve the interests of their citizens, not their clients, of their citizens, by implementing systems such as this, because it's allocated physical gold, no debt attached to it, nothing like that, and really God's money, in my view, the universal currency. So that's something that is rolling out. I can tell you that the next country off the off the mark will be a Latin American based country, very different kind of country to Indonesia, but an important country within Latin America. And that's in some areas more of an exciting project because it will be legal tender, and all merchants within country need to be accepting it. They cannot not accept it. So they're all going to have to be plugged into this digital infrastructure and architecture that we've built out and implementing within that country. They'll also have gold and silver forms of their currency in physical form, because we're in the physical space as well. So we have our own mint. We will be minting their gold and silver physical currency as well. I mean,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it might be worthwhile. I can actually show your audience, for example, like I love physical product as well. So here's one of our gold rounds. That's the first series. We've just launched our bullion store.
Can you flip it over and hold that side again? That's gorgeous. That's a great design. Yeah.
I should pull it out of the case there. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
But we've got our so there you go. Very, very shiny. Yeah, that's the Egyptian goddess Mat, which is really the goddess symbolizing justice, reciprocity, balance, harmony.
Sure.
So we thought that was appropriate. This is, one of our sort of minted silver bars as well, just 100 gram. We do 5 ounces as well, which is a bit more appropriate for the US market. But that's the Greek goddess Lady Themis, which is also the Greek goddess of justice as well, with holding the scales and blindfold. So
very cool.
Yeah, that's sort of like our initial series around the physical bullion. And in this other country, we will be building another vault and another refinery in this country as part of government mandated contract that we put together with them. But we've gone through a number of different parliamentary debates, and it's we're about to get the signature of the president in this country, and with that will come very exciting. We've already participated in writing the legislation, which is already approved and been implemented in country. We did the same in Indonesia as well. We actually wrote the gold legislation there in Indonesia. So we're really touching all different levels, whether it be governmental level, institutional level. And Kinesis was the first time that we got involved in the retail space, which is really fascinating, allows us to implement a lot of creativity from basically an entrepreneurial standpoint and really connect with the end user, which, this is our real baby, Kinesis. But to see it all sort of slot together with the full supply chain is, and seeing that business plan sort of roll out, it's been a very rewarding experience. It's taken a lot of hard work along the way. I can't remember the last time I think I had even 7 hours of sleep of night. But anyway, that's it's been a busy time, but we're getting there.
I kind of lied. There was one more question I wanted to ask you. It's
Please.
about the vault. So you guys have a portable vault. It's a physical card essentially, or device. Can you just explain what this is and what benefit it offers to your customers?
Yeah, that's the Kinesis 𝙀𝙀𝙾𝙆𝙀 S, which is basically a cold storage device, which you can even put it in your wallet. It allows you to store your digital assets in basically a cold wallet environment, off exchange, outside of any ability for hackers to get there. And so it provides that extra level of security, of peace of mind, assurance that our users can basically utilize. They can store their assets off there. It's quite handy, it's got a little digital screen, and it connects to your phone using this military grade Bluetooth tech, where you can see the balances, and you can very easily, if you send the cryptocurrencies or digital assets or KAU or KAG into the wallet. and send it out as well. So it's super easy to use. Yeah, we've got our store there where anyone can buy it. It's got all the details of it, but yeah, it's an amazing little device that we offer to our users.
That's really cool for anybody who may be worried about internet connectivity, stuff like that, and may still want to have access to their assets. Or, a lot of people who trade a lot of the private cryptos like to have those wallets to secure, their stuff. And so that definitely offers, a lot of different abilities for people and how they manage, their KEGs and KEs with you guys.
Exactly.
Well, Thomas, has been a really good one. We really went over a lot of stuff. I think there's more to talk about, definitely, but we want to have you on the program later to do that. So we'll go ahead and get this one wrapped up. And again, I know you're super busy. It's hard to get a hold of you because you're doing so much, but I appreciate you making yourself available to our viewers so they can understand more about the Kinesis product. And again, like I said, I hope to have you on again.
Thank you very much, Robert. And yeah, thank you to your audience for tuning in, and looking forward to circling back around as well. Might even try to get Andy Maguire on sometime as well with you.
Oh, you know what? He's been on my show and I've been on the live, and it's just a wonderful experience. He is so knowledgeable, so passionate about what he does, but also so well respected, Thomas, in this space. He's probably the top 3 or 4 guys, I think, that most people consider, to be very knowledgeable. And I always enjoy talking to him. It's always a great and fun time.
No, he's an amazing guy. And
yeah.
Despite his physical age, like just being in his presence, he's got an amazing youth about him. So yeah, he's a bit of a mentor for myself, I must say. And we've had a lot of very interesting experiences all around the world. So, but anyway, Robert, thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. And for anybody interested in Kinesis or interested in signing up, we do have an affiliate link down here in the description for our followers. That does help the program just a little bit if you guys are interested in that. And of course, you can always email me if you have questions. Happy to send those over to the Kinesis team and get those answered, post-interview if there's something we didn't answer for you guys. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Stay tuned to the channel. We've got more content for you guys. And we'll continue to give you guys updates on all the stuff that Kinesis is doing in terms of features and things like that as they come out.